They're not good enough to start. They're not even good enough to play. But they do talk a good game. So come join Lou and Jose from the sidelines where all the best sports discussions happen anyway. Welcome in to the Benchwarmers Podcast.
Welcome into the program, everybody. I'm Lou Ruggieri. That's Jose Ortiz. And this is the Benchwamerz Podcast. Wherever, whenever, however you happen to be listening, we appreciate you taking some time out of your day to spend it with us. We're going to try to make it worth your while. Hopefully it's been worth your while thus far. This is the beginning of hour number 2. Hour 1, we touched on all of the news in NFL and a couple, tennis as well. NBA talk. We went through kind of how the playoffs have been going so far. Coming up in a little bit, we're going to go through and make our final preseason predictions on who division winners and playoff teams, and kind of give you our lock, quote unquote, of the week, which isn't really a lock because there's no such thing. But to start off, hour 2, you can find us, by the way, follow us along iHeartRadio podcasting app. We're on Spotify. We're on YouTube, though we don't have any video just yet. We're working on that. That's to be in the near future. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at the BW Pod. Email is thebenchwarmerspodcast@yahoo.com. Benchwarmers with a Z for marketing purposes. And outside of that, you should know where to find us by now if you're listening. So, hour 2, we're going to start off with a couple questions. Jose, I'm going to throw these out to you. We can go through them and see how you feel about them. And I'll give you my opinion. You give me yours. And I mean, maybe we agree, maybe we don't. That's sort of how the show works. So, first and foremost, a couple season-defining questions here. Are Tom Brady, Drew Brees, and Aaron Rodgers still elite quarterbacks, in your opinion?
Well, I guess the short answer is no.
Are any of them?
No, I don't think either of them are elite quarterbacks anymore. I think they're good quarterbacks. So just so we have a baseline definition of what elite is for me, I think that you're basically when you're kind of firmly in that top 5. So Russell Wilson's elite, Patrick Mahomes is elite, Deshaun Watson is elite. I'd have to think a little bit more other than those 3 who I would actually even put in there. But I think that all 3 of the quarterbacks that we're talking about, Brady, Brees, and Rodgers, who have been the standard for quarterbacks for over a decade now, I think they're kind of trailing towards the back end of the top 10, if not outside the top 10. I'm not expecting elite level seasons from them. I'm expecting average to slightly above average seasons. So
I think Drew Brees is not elite. I think we kind of saw that last year where, the last 2 years he's sort of trailed off, and, it seems like his arm gets tired towards the end of the year. Aaron Rodgers, I think, could be elite if he had even remotely good pieces around him outside of Devontae Adams and Aaron Jones. But I don't think that that's going to happen. Tom Brady is the one that I think this season, with the talent that he has, I think you could make an argument that the talent that surrounds him in this coming season, his first season with the Bucs, with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, O.J. Howard, Cameron Brate, Rob Gronkowski, Leonard Fournette, I think you could make a case that team is even more talented than the 2007 Randy Moss team, and from top to bottom in terms of pure talent. Obviously,
you can definitely make that argument. Yes.
So I think that this season, if Tom Brady can have at least 3 seconds from that offensive line to throw a ball, I think that he might have one more sort of Peyton Manning-esque 2013 elite season in him. So I think that it's Tom Brady might be the closest.
Yeah, I guess I can agree with that. If there's one player that if I had to bet on one of those guys to have the quote unquote elite season, meaning over 4,500, close to 30, over 30 touchdowns, it would probably be Tom Brady. But he hasn't been that for a while. Yeah. And so it's hard for me to just assume that going to a new team with a new system with all new pieces that he hasn't worked with before in a shortened off season, that he's going to become have a throwback season.
That's fair. All right, question number 2. How, if any way, can you stop Lamar Jackson? because I don't know if there is a way. Obviously, I mean, you could say wait till the playoffs, I guess. But, too soon. Sorry, Lamar. He's pretty good. But during, let's say, regular season only, how do you defend against Lamar Jackson? How do you stop him?
Well, first of all, if I knew how to stop Lamar Jackson, no offense, Lou, I wouldn't be doing this show. I'd be a defensive coordinator in the NFL right now.
Fair enough.
But I don't know. I don't agree with the spying on the field, like to have the QB spy. I just don't think there's anyone fast enough to actually make a difference by, I'm just gonna watch him, and as soon as he moves in one direction, I'm gonna go. I think the way you slow Lamar Jackson down is you just hit him over and over again. Yeah. And it may not be in the first quarter, it may not be in the second quarter, it might not even be in the first half of the season. But I think, not to say that these two players are not close in talent. Lamar Jackson's way better, but I remember when Colin Kaepernick, after that, he had the transcendent year where everyone was like, oh my God, he's going to be the greatest quarterback ever. And then teams just started drilling him, just crushing him when he would run the ball and he would just get hit so hard. And I feel like it took the life out of him a little bit. It just took that burst out of him. I think that's what you have to do, Lamar Jackson. You just have to hit him, and make the Ravens say, like, you know what? I don't want Lamar Jackson to get hit like this anymore. Let's make him throw. And the scary thing is, if he can beat you throwing the ball, look out, because that's going to be really scary. But that's what I'd rather him do. Just throw the ball, make him throw the ball closer to 500 times than he's been doing.
Yeah, I think that the only way I can even think to slow him down is because he's faster than any linebacker in the league. It's not even close. I mean, it's that you'd have to put a safety on him as far as shadowing him. And I think back to when Michael Vick was in the league, and Lamar Jackson I think is a better passer than Michael Vick, honestly. Yeah. And I remember there was a Bears game where they had Brian Urlacher, he was pinned to Michael Vick. And obviously, Urlacher started off as a safety and then he became a linebacker. So he was always kind of one of those tweeners where he was a kind of a light linebacker or a really, really jacked, strong safety. But, because of the angles and he was quick enough, he was able to contain Vick as well as anybody. And I think you might have to do the same thing with Lamar Jackson. I just don't know who has that ability. I mean, that's the thing. And it's you can almost, I mean, I don't want to say you hit the guy to hurt him, but I think you're right. You have to kind of like make him want to think twice about running the ball, because he's not a big dude.
And I think that also the issue with the strategy with Brian Urlacher, then you take a player like, now they have to play one player instead of defending someone else on the field. You're just staring at Lamar Jackson, who you're probably going to get outrun by him anyway. Yeah. But like, I feel like that strategy is a little flawed in the sense that someone's going to always be open. So it's going to make it easier for him, not harder.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a pick your poison kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you just hope that, his throwing is not as good as his running, because if he starts running, your chances of catching him are a lot worse.
Yep.
And so, all right. But speaking of defenses, I think a defense that might be able to slow him down is the 49ers defense. And my question to you, Jose, who is a 49ers fan, is I'm going to ask you to be as objective as possible. Is the 49ers defense a truly elite defense in your mind? As unbiased as you can be.
Well, I have to say no right now, because listen, you're up 10 points with 9 minutes left to go in the Super Bowl. Elite defenses win that game. So that's the way I feel about an elite defense, right? Your offense gives you a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter, you win that game. Can they grow to be an elite defense? Possibly. Nick Bosa was a freshman. He was a rookie last year, and he was great. Had a great rookie season. He's my pick to win Defensive Player of the Year this year. So I think they can take that next step. But it is concerning because they did trade away DeForest Buckner, who was one of the best defensive linemen in the game last year. They replaced him with a rookie, Javon Kinlaw. Mm-hmm. We'll see. I mean, he's a rookie. It's hard to expect him to come in and be DeForest Buckner. I don't I don't know. So yeah, the answer is no. I don't think they're an elite defense. I think they're a very good defense that has a chance to become elite.
I mean, they did get D Ford, which I thought was a good pickup.
Yeah,
I
if he
thought
can stay healthy.
Richard Sherman, I've said this before. I think Richard Sherman should transition to safety because I think he's lost a step, but he's still really smart. And another extremely smart safety comes to mind in Ed Reed. So
Yeah.
I think Richard Sherman should shift over. I think he'd be way more effective as a safety than a cornerback. But I guess that's above my pay grade. So I think the Niners are elite. I really do. I think outside of maybe the Bills and I'd say Bills, Steelers, arguably the Ravens, I think are right there. The Niners are in that top 5 group. I don't know how you would organize them. I think the Steelers defense is going to be incredible this year.
I think that maybe because you know what, I would include them in the top 5 of defense. So from that standpoint, I guess they would have to be elite because they're at the top of the league in defense. When I think of an elite defense, I think of Legion of Boom. I think of the 2000 Ravens, the 2002 Buccaneers, the teams that you really remember their defense. And I'm worried that I don't know I'm not even sure if it's possible to have a defense like that anymore in the NFL. Yeah. But I don't know. I'm just not sure if they have that extra where it's like no one can beat them.
I don't think that they're
not all-time.
They're not an all-time. It's not the '85 Bears.
Yeah.
It's not even. I don't even think it's the 13 Seahawks. I think that they're at a notch below that. And you're right. I don't know that they're going to be. We're going to remember this 49ers team for being kind of defense first.
Yeah.
But that might be a product of just the way the league is right now. But I think that they're good. I think they're very good. I think they're top 5.
Yep.
And speaking of top 5, from your team to mine, will the Cowboys, and not top 5, but will the Cowboys have a top 3 offensive attack this year?
You want to go first on that one, or is this just should I take it away?
I mean, I guess I'll try to, same rules apply to me with the team that we're rooting for. I'll try to be objective. I think, will they have a top 3 offensive attack? I think the answer is yes. I think offensively, they outscored their opponents by more than 100 points last season. And so how they ended up 8-8 is just blows my mind. I don't even know how that's possible. But the Cowboys, with the addition of CeeDee Lamb to that already good receiving core with Michael Gallup and Amari Cooper, is, aside from maybe, I don't know, the Browns and the Buccaneers, I think that you can make a case that they're the best top to bottom offensive football. Zeke obviously is there. He's a pass catcher. He's a runner. They still have a good offense, a better than average offensive line. It's not. I don't think it's as great as it was a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still. Minimum top 10. It might still be top 5. I don't know. That's a tough one. But they're a little lacking in the tight end position. Jarwin isn't exactly a world beater, and I think that's where the Achilles heel of that offense is. But I think that they'll do it. I think they'll have a top 3 offensive attack. I don't think it's going to transition to many wins, just like last year, because I think that it's going to be a lot of garbage time. But I think that offensively, by the numbers, they will be top 3 at the end of the season.
So the top 2 teams in offense I expect this year will be the Kansas City Chiefs and the Baltimore Ravens.
Yes.
After that, I think it would be inexcusable if the Cowboys are not there. I guess you could finish 4th if you're less by a yard or 2 or by a point, but they've got to be in that area to me. And so I would say yes, with Zeke, Dak on a contract year, Amari Cooper just got paid, although he does seem to be battling some mysterious injury. You already touched on CeeDee Lamb. I think Blake Jarwin is actually better than you give him credit for. I think he's a kind of a breakout candidate this year. I think they have all the pieces there. There's no excuses for them not to be an elite offense. They should be able to put up 30, 35 points a game. And if they're not, then I guess you point the finger at Dak, maybe point the finger at Mike McCarthy, whomever, but there's no excuse. They need to be an elite offense and be at top 3. Absolutely.
I agree. Are the Titans, so next question, Were the Titans a Cinderella season, or are they actually as good as their performance was last year?
Well, so basically, you're gonna hear when we go over projections, but I don't think the Titans were actually a great team. I just don't think the Titans are that good. Uh, I think they got hot at the right time last year, which there's nothing wrong with that. That happens in the NFL all the time. Teams get a little hot. I have them as a wild card team in the postseason this year. So it's not like I think that they're terrible, but I'm not predicting a run to the AFC Championship again. I don't think that Ryan Tannehill is this great quarterback. Derrick Henry's a good running back. I don't think he's great. I mean, he's good. I would say there's probably, I don't know if he's top 5. I'm not, I think it's debatable if he's top 5 at the running back position. So, and then AJ Brown, we'll see. He was really good last year. No reason to expect him not to be really good this year. I don't know. I don't really have a great reason. I just don't feel like they're going to be this 13-win team, and that would be, or this 12-11-win team. They're going to be around 8-9 wins, maybe 10, sneak into the playoffs because there's 7 teams in now, and they'll probably get eliminated in the first round.
Yeah, I think that's about right. I actually don't have too much more to add than that. So, last question. I'll give you a choice. Do you want a Seahawks question or do you want a Browns question?
Give me a Seahawks question.
All right, Seahawks. Will Pete Carroll finally let Russell Wilson throw the ball down the field more than he has?
I certainly hope so. It's the answer is probably no, because Pete Carroll seems to, just want to run the ball all the time. But I certainly hope so. It just looking at what Patrick Mahomes did in the playoffs last year, especially in the Super Bowl, he creates space, he creates time, unlike other quarterbacks can do. And honestly, the only quarterback in the NFL that I think can actually do what Patrick Mahomes does is Russell Wilson. He has the accuracy.
I agree.
He has the ability to throw on the run. He has mobility. He has all the tools. Yeah, he has all the tools. Yep. He has the arm strength. They just don't let him throw the ball. And I was looking at it and realized 5 of the last 8 years. So his entire career has been in the NFL 8 years. In 5 of those years, he's attempted under 500 passes. Few of those well in the low 400s. You got to let him air it out and just put the team on his back. He is that good. He should be even better. His numbers should be even better than they've already been, which are amazing. So I hope so, but I doubt it.
Yeah, and I think there's a strange phenomenon. It seems like it's going on in Seattle, where it feels like Pete Carroll is sort of regressing in a way, where it feels like they weren't very good for a couple of years there, and it feels like Pete Carroll is just kind of going back to what he knows in that, defense first and run the ball. But, the difference now is you don't have the Legion of Boom and you don't have Marshawn Lynch. Nothing against Chris Carson and CJ Prosise and, all the other litany of running backs that they've gone through in the last couple of years. But, before, Marshawn Lynch was your best offensive weapon when Russell Wilson first got to the league. Now, Russell Wilson is your offense. It's impossible. He is the best. You gave him $140 million. Let him earn it. Don't just throw it on his back on the last 3 minutes of the game when your game plan didn't work and you're behind 6 points going into the fourth quarter. Start from the beginning. Throw the ball. Run to change it up. But I mean, yeah, like you said, he's the second best quarterback in the league. Prove it. Let him prove it.
Yeah.
Just really frustrating. But okay. All right, that'll do it for our questions. We got to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back. We have to revise. This is our final revision for our division winner, our picks for division winners and playoff rankings, or not rankings, but playoff appearances. So we're going to list those, and then we're going to give you, we're going to leave off with our final put your money where your mouth is sort of pseudo lock of the week that isn't really a lock because nothing's a lock. So stick around, and we're going to come right back. This is the Benchwamerz podcast.
You can reduce your risk of COVID-19 by cleaning and disinfecting frequently touched items and surfaces every day. These items include remotes, tables, counters, light switches, doorknobs, handles, toilets, and sinks. Wear disposable gloves to clean and disinfect. If you can see that the item is dirty, wash first with soap and water or another general cleaner. Then use a household disinfectant to kill germs. Follow manufacturer's instructions for application and proper ventilation to safely use the product. For phones or other electronics, follow the manufacturer's instructions for cleaning and disinfecting. If no instructions, use alcohol-based wipes or sprays containing at least 70% alcohol. Dry surface thoroughly. For more tips, visit cdc.gov.
And now back to the Benchwarmers podcast with Lou and Jose.
Welcome back to the program, everybody. I'm Lou Ruggieri. That's Jose Ortiz, and this is still the Benchwamerz podcast. We appreciate you taking some time to spend it with us today. Hopefully, you're following us along on either the iHeartRadio podcasting app, Spotify, YouTube, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, or just chiming in from Facebook or Instagram or Twitter at the BW Pod, or maybe even emailing us at the Benchwarmers podcast at yahoo.com. Benchwarmers with a Z for marketing purposes. This show has flown by, and football is back, and I could not be happier. We might have to extend our show hours because we're going to have so much to talk about. But for now, we have one segment that we have to do left, and this is the last chance we have to revise our division projections for this year. And if we're right, we're going to brag about them profusely. And if we're wrong, we're just going to own it and have a little egg on our face at the end of the year, and one of us will probably be mocking the other mercilessly, which, is the way it goes. So, Jose, I just want to go through, and rather than recapping what we did before, if there's, I'd rather just kind of reintroduce what your rankings are this final. This is the last time we get to do this because there's been some injuries, there's been some signings, there's been, all kinds of things since we touched on this the first time, probably about 2 months ago now. And so I want to start in the AFC, and we'll start in the AFC East. And, if you changed your mind, obviously you can let us know. If not, then just kind of run through who you have. And I don't know. I'll give you my right off the bat. I have the Bills winning the division. I have the Patriots, then the Dolphins, and in last place, I have the Jets. And that's kind of how it's been all along, and I don't see any reason to change it.
Yeah, so when I first did my rankings, I had the Patriots winning the division and the Bills in second place, with the Dolphins in third and the Jets in last place, because Adam Gase is the worst coach in the NFL, and I will always take the opportunity to say it. But after thinking about it more, I realized I was giving the Patriots too much credit, and it was basically, Bill Belichick's there, so they're going to find a way to win. And in reality, they've gotten worse. If you really think about it, they obviously, Tom Brady being replaced by Cam Newton, I don't see how you could say that's an upgrade. It's at the very most, it's the same. And then they lost Kyle Van Noy, they lost Donta Hightower, they lost Patrick Chung on defense.
Yep.
So I'm giving the Bills the division, and like I said, the Patriots in second place.
Yeah, I think the Bills defense is just going to be dominating. And I think Josh Allen might, he's going to improve. And Devin Singletary is a hard runner. I love watching him play. He's great. Addition of Stephon Diggs, I just think. And then the Patriots are just, the Bills are adding pieces and the Patriots are cutting pieces. And it's mind-boggling. And I think, there's an argument you can make for Cam Newton might do a couple things better than Tom Brady, but there's not many of them anymore. I mean, he can run. I would take a hobbled Liz Frank laden Cam Newton over Tom Brady running the ball any day, but that's not going to win you the division. So moving on to the AFC South, this is the one division where I made the biggest change, and it's something you said early on, so I'll give you credit and say that I kind of came around to your idea of how this division is going to play out. I do have the Titans winning the division because I think that they're just, I don't think that they're going to do nearly as well as they did last year and end up in the AFC Championship game. But I think that they're going to be good enough to win the division because they play hard defense. They run the hell out of the ball. And I think Ryan Tannehill is good enough to not lose the game. In second place, and this is where the change happened, I have the Colts, and this is where you were right, I think. I think Phillip Rivers, that offensive line, the running attack, they're put together just way, way better than a lot of teams in the league. And they've done it the right way. Offensive line, defensive line, and then out. And then the Texans, I have in third place, just because they've added some pieces, but I feel like they've lost more than they've added. And unless David Johnson has some sort of renaissance, I don't really think that that's going to do too much. And I just don't trust Bill O'Brien. And the Jags, I mean, I don't want to put the Jaguars in football this year, so they're going to be the worst team in the league. So that's how my AFC South is playing out in my mind. So how about you?
So I'm going to just keep saying it. The Colts are dark horse Super Bowl contenders. They are the third best team in the AFC, in my opinion. So I have them winning the division. I just think everything you said, basically, they improved at every position after going 7-9 last year. So I just don't see any way that they don't win at least 10 to 11 games. The Titans, I think, just take a step back in the sense that, win 9 games, something like that. I have the Texans at third because I just think they're taking a step backwards this year. Like you said, David Johnson, not that good. They've lost DeAndre Hopkins. It's just not expecting. I'm not expecting much. And then the Jaguars, I mean, I'm not sure if they might finish last in a college division. So it's going to be bad. They're going to be bad. Maybe, like, I'm not even sure if they said over under 2 wins for the Jaguars. Yeah. I'm not 100% sure I wouldn't take the under.
Wow. 2. If you put it at 2.5, I think I take the under. I think 2 wins is about right because they'll surprise somebody. They'll catch somebody off guard and just out of pride. But that's going to be a bad team this year. And so going from a bad division to a very good division, the AFC North. This is like I said before. This is the second best division in football in my mind. I have the Ravens first, I have the Browns in second, I have the Steelers in third, and the Bengals I have to put in there because they're in the division technically. But the caveat I will say is that if I thought that Ben Roethlisberger could stay healthy for the entire 16-game season, I would have them in second place. But I don't. I've seen it too many times, and he's getting older, not younger. So I think that there's going to be a down few games for Ben Roethlisberger, and Duck Hodges isn't gonna save the day, and I think they cut Mason Rudolph, so there's just no stability at that position if Roethlisberger goes down. So that's why I have the Browns in second place. Plus, the Browns are a more talented team from top to bottom.
Yeah, it's hard to disagree with you. I have Ravens, Browns, Steelers, Cincinnati. Oh. I'm sorry, did you have the Steelers in second or did you have the Steelers in third?
Steelers in third.
Yeah, so we have the same exact rankings. It's all the same. Obviously, there's no need to talk about the Ravens. We all know they're amazing. They're going to be great. I just think it's going to be a bounce back year for the Browns. Last year, it's kind of a post-hype team. We got all hyped up about them last year. Now they're under the radar. They'll actually do well this year. Look, we'll see what Ben Roethlisberger can do. I just don't have very high expectations. And then Cincinnati, of course, they have rookie quarterback. They're still a growing team. They're a couple years away. So
AFC West, not surprising. I'm sure we both have the Chiefs winning that division. After that, though, I'm not sure if we have the same team. So I have the Chiefs winning the division, obviously. Then I have the Broncos in second, the Raiders in third, and then the Chargers in last place. And the Broncos, I think, are sort of I think the Broncos could be one of those upstart kind of dark horse teams too, because if Drew Lock can get it together, they drafted Jerry Jeudy, who I think is probably the best receiver in the draft from Alabama. Yep. Their running attack, they signed Melvin Gordon. They still have a good running attack with Philip Lindsay. Noah Fant is there. They have a good team, and their defensive run first team that I think is going to surprise some people.
So I'm going to shock you here. I have the Chiefs winning the division.
Oh, wow.
But after that, I know, groundbreaking analysis. But after that, I actually have the Raiders as the number 2 team and the Broncos as number 3. And this is really just about the floor. I think the Broncos have a higher ceiling where if everything clicks, right? If Drew Lock is the guy, everything clicks. Melvin Gordon's getting the ball. Phillip Lindsay, all the players are, they have Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton and Noah Fant. It's all working. The Broncos could surprise and be a second place team there. But in this season, where I just feel like I don't know. I feel like the Raiders. I just think they were sick. I think they were 6-4 through the first 10 games last year. Kind of fell apart at the end. I have a feeling that they're gonna. No, I'm not saying they're gonna make the playoffs or anything, but I just have a feeling they're just gonna be kind of that second place team in the division. Maybe go 8-8, 9-7, something like that. And then the Broncos. I mean, it looks like Von Miller's might be out for the season. Injured his ankle. We'll see what happens. Yes. News just came out like an hour ago. So we'll see what happens there. I just worry about maybe the pieces. Maybe this is the Browns of last year, where it seems like everything is going to all come together, and maybe we're a year early on them, and that's what I'm kind of predicting with the Broncos. And the Chargers, I mean, they're just they're in a rebuild mode right now, so it's hard to expect much from them.
Yeah, and the loss of Derwin James for the foreseeable future. I mean, he might be the best player on that team, offensive or defensively. Yep. And it's a shame to see him go down. But yeah, I don't think the Chargers are going to be particularly relevant this year. Now we're going to move on to the NFC. And so the AFC, your playoff teams, I want to that. So I think my playoff team, so obviously the division winners. Mm-hmm. So I have the Bills, Titans, Ravens, Chiefs. And then there's 7 teams that make the playoffs this year. So on top of those guys, I have the Colts, the Browns, and the Steelers, both from the AFC North. And so I think that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's 7. So
I have the Buffalo Bills, the Ravens, the Colts, and the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
Not in that. I guess I should have put my number 1 seed.
Chiefs. It doesn't matter. I mean,
but then the other 3 playoff teams, I have the Cleveland Browns, the Tennessee Titans, and the New England Patriots.
Okay. So I have the Steelers, you have the Patriots. That's really where we differ there. Yep. In terms of who's making the playoffs in the AFC. So interesting. NFC, let's switch over. The NFC East, we'll start with. Begrudgingly, I have the Cowboys winning the division. I think that they're going to be, in the regular season, I think they're going to be an offensive juggernaut. And I think Dak's going to put up good numbers. I don't think that it's going to translate to wins, but I think it's going to be enough wins to at least beat out the oft-injured Eagles and the rebuilding Giants and Redskins. So I'm sorry.
No,
that's it.
Yeah, I just don't know how else you could call this division. If you know anything about football, you have to pick the Cowboys to be in the first place. You have to pick the Eagles in second place. You have to pick the Giants in third place, and you have to pick the Redskins in fourth. There's no real other way that you could paint a narrative. The Redskins are bad, and there doesn't seem like they got much better in the offseason. The Cowboys have all the pieces. The Eagles can't stay healthy at the wide receiver position. And the Giants, I don't even know what to expect. The Giants, I just are kind of like one of these middling teams. So, yeah, that's spot on.
Yeah, the Giants could be a surprise, though, because they have a good team around Daniel Jones. I mean, Saquon Barkley has the potential to be the best running back in the league. Yeah. They have a good wide receiving core with Golden Tate, Slayton, and there's one other guy that's
Sterling Shepard.
Sterling Shepard, yep. And then Evan Ingram, when he's healthy,
stay healthy,
is a matchup nightmare. So I mean, if they could keep it all together, I think the Giants could really surprise some people. But the problem is they haven't been able to keep it all together, and
their defense is going to be atrocious this year too.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the Eagles are well coached. Carson Wentz, I think, is the best quarterback in that division, as much as it pains me to say that, but I think it's true. It's just that they're the weapons around him. I mean, they have Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert, but after that, I mean, Deshaun Jackson, if this was 2013, I'd be excited to have him find a home receiver. But I mean, 7 years later, it's kind of like, okay, what else you got? Yeah. I think Alshon, they took off the PUP list, but him too. I mean, he's going to play 3 games and be on IR So it's hard to know what to expect from the Eagles too.
Yep.
But okay, so NFC South, and this gets interesting. I have the Saints winning the division because I think that they're just from coaching and a continuity standpoint, especially in a COVID offseason, I think continuity between coach and quarterback is going to be paramount. And so I think that's the only reason that I have the Saints above the Bucks, who I have in second place. I think the Falcons fight and do well, but not enough to get more than third in that division. And then the Panthers, they might be better in a different division, but they're just not a good spot for them.
So I hate to keep agreeing with you, but so the Falcons, I had them initially when we did our initial rankings. I had them in second place.
Yes.
After thinking about it, doing some soul searching, I came to my senses, and the Bucks are just like, all Tom Brady has to do is do exactly what Jameis Winston did last year, except minus 10 interceptions, which I don't think he's ever had more than 15 interceptions in his career. Like, I don't know off the top of my head, but if I had to guess, Tom Brady
had more interceptions last season than Tom Brady has had in the last 4 seasons combined.
Yeah, exactly. So if he can just keep around the same yardage, keep around the same touchdowns, and just not wet the bed, which that's what Tom Brady does, not wet the bed, you would have to think that they would at least be a second place team. So obviously the Saints are the class of that division. Bucks are in second place. The Falcons, I think they'll be competitive in games, but it's their defense is not going to be great. Their offense is probably not improved, surprisingly, by adding Todd Gurley instead of Devonta Freeman, or at least not markedly improved. And the Panthers are in that Trevor Lawrence sweepstakes as well. So,
yeah, I think it's and not just to touch on your Tom Brady point. I think something that might be going a little under the radar is, I mean, Tom Brady's got it's no surprise he's had a chip on his shoulder since before he was drafted, and I would be willing to bet that, knowing that his last pass in New England was a pick six, I think that he's going to go over and above to prove that that's not going to happen again. So I would not be surprised if he even breaks his own touchdown to interception ratio record this year by just with just something else to kind of sort of that Michael Jordan-esque thing where you kind of manufacture things to motivate you. I could see that definitely being something that gets Tom Brady thrown even a little better than he already does. So NFC North, let's move on to the NFC North. I have the Packers winning the division because I'm not sure. I think that they're going to be good, not great, but I also am a little skeptical of the Vikings, who I have in second place. The Bears I have in third place, and then the Lions. I mean, it's the Lions. I feel bad, but they're just not very good, and they're just going to keep not being very good. The Packers Vikings was tough, though. I think I have the Packers, and I'm not sure if that's. I might change that after I hear what you have to say. I might before we sign off. I might have to change it.
So, as you likely remember, I have the Vikings winning this division. It is actually more about the Packers just not being that good and not addressing glaring needs during the offseason. And I just believe in the NFL, if you're not getting better, you're getting worse because other teams are getting better. Yeah. The Vikings upped their defense by signing Yannick Ngakoue. Yep. They, I think, improved their offense. I mean, I guess maybe not improved because you got rid of Stephon Diggs, but they're going to have a good offense with, I love Justin Jefferson, draft pick.
Yep.
And then obviously Dalvin Cook's there, Adam Thielen. Kirk Cousins is a solid quarterback. Kyle Rudolph, Irv Smith Jr. They have good team. And then let's not forget, Daniel Hunter is still there on defense. Like, they have really good players. I just think the Vikings they'll win 10, 11 games. The one change I made was I moved so initially I was getting cavalier and I put the Lions in second place over the Packers.
Yeah.
Once again, I thought about it.
I think you were drinking that show.
Maybe. It's more because I think I want to hammer home. I think the Packers are going to be bad this year. Like, 8-8 is, I think that's that might be their max. That might be their top end. Like, I think they're going to be so bad this year that they're going to trade Aaron Rodgers and start the Jordan Love era earlier, because I just don't see how they can. I don't see what they're going to do. They were a hollow 13-3 team last year. They got worse.
Yeah.
So last year they were probably more of a 10-win team. They got worse. They're probably now an 8-win team. So, but it's more that I think the Lions are going to just be terrible. So I have the Lions at third place, and I have the Bears in fourth because Mitch Trubisky is just trash.
Although Mitch Trubisky was named the starting quarterback for the Bears, and
exactly,
the Bears were so excited about this announcement that they dumped it on a Friday afternoon of Labor Day weekend, so no one saw anything. Like you want news to go to die, you do a news dump on a Friday afternoon of a holiday weekend, and no one's going to know anything.
How must you feel if you're Nick Foles? It's like, wow, I can't even beat out Mitch Trubisky. Now, of course, it's probably because they want to give him another chance. They did invest a lot in that draft pick, so they just want to give him another shot, I guess. But gosh, I'm surprised Nick Foles.
I'd feel pretty good counting my $25 million for holding a clipboard at least to start the season. So
that's
I think
true.
I'd be all right with that. And I think that Trubisky, they declined his fifth-year option. So I think that I think that this is just sort of trying to save face as the GM who drafted him.
Yep.
Just saying like, he was, he wasn't that bad. I mean, he wasn't great, but it's sort of just that prideful kind of hanging on. But I'm changing my pick right now. This is the last chance I have to do this. You convinced me. The Vikings are winning the division. The Packers are coming in second. So I'm changing that. It's official. Final answer. End of story.
I just want to add one thing. I think the Bears could be an undercover team that might be in the Trevor Lawrence sweepstakes as well.
I think that you might be right.
Yep.
And so finally, the NFC West. I have the Niners winning the division. Not surprising, even though the Super Bowl hangover might be in effect. I think that Shanahan is a good enough coach and can get enough out of them to make them believe that they have a better chance. Jimmy Garoppolo is now going to be in his second full year starting, so I think that he'll make some progress. The Seahawks, for a lot of reasons we mentioned before, I think are coming in second, a close second, but second. And then I have the Cardinals and then the Rams in last place. I think the Cardinals are going to take a big step up, but it's just, again, a lot like the Panthers. I think they're just it's a bad draw of a division, because in a different division, the Cardinals could be a division winner, but in this division, I don't think they're any better than third place.
Yeah, I think the Cardinals could win the NFC North. I think they could. If they were in that division, and let's say you switched out the Bears and you put the Bears in the West and the Cardinals there, they would have a great shot to win that division. I hate to keep agreeing with you. I want it to be like more dramatic and like we were screaming and arguing with each other.
We both know. We know our football.
Yeah, hopefully. It's just hopefully, and the thing is, I'm looking at this. I'm like, it's my picks are dripping with chalk, so I know something is going to be off here. Listen, here's the thing. I've been a 49ers fan since 1989. I can't not pick in a year where the 49ers have a legit chance to win the Super Bowl. I can't not pick them to win the division. So I absolutely have them winning the division. I think they got better. I think they're just getting better just by the fact that you have a lot of young players coming into the second and third year as a starter, including Deebo Samuel, including Jimmy Garoppolo, including Joey Bosa, including also George Kittle. So they have a lot of young players kind of taking that next step. Seahawks are in second place because when you have Russell Wilson, you have a chance. He's that good. They're going to be in the playoffs. I think the Cardinals do take the next step this year. Kyler Murray's great. They added DeAndre Hopkins. We don't have to go through all the additions. They just have a really, really good team. Yep. Even Kenyon Drake in the backfield is great as well. And I just think the Rams keep sliding back. I don't have a lot of faith in the Rams. I think we're going to see Sean McVay kind of lose that genius head coach
I don't believe
tag that. Or whatever label, which seems to be a curse now. I don't know if you remember when Eric Mangini was the man genius. I don't want any of my head coaches being labeled geniuses anymore. So I have the Rams in last place.
So playoff wise, I have I have Cowboys, Eagles, Saints, Bucks, Vikings, Niners, Seahawks for my 7 teams.
Okay. Well, we're a little different here. I have Cowboys, Saints, Vikings, 49ers.
Okay.
And it has Seattle, Arizona, and the Bucks.
Interesting.
So I don't have the Eagles making the playoffs.
I see. I was torn between the Eagles and the Packers, but I think the Eagles, I don't know. They're just a thorn in the NFC East side and the rest of that division. I think that they're going to beat up on the Giants and the Redskins. I think they're going to take at least one game from the Cowboys, and they're going to find. Carson Wentz finds ways to win. I mean, he was throwing to statues and lawn furniture out there last year, and they still managed to win a division. So I don't want them to make the playoffs, truth be told, but I think that they're too good not to. I have to at least give them the credit they deserve.
Okay.
So, all right. So finally, before we sign off, we're gonna do a little thing. Maybe we'll do this once a week and see, and maybe we'll come up with something to bet on. Perhaps I'm gonna put money on this bet. So we're gonna do it's basically titled "Put Your Money Where Your Mouth Is" for the time being until we come up with something clever, more clever. That's what it's gonna be called. So basically, we're just gonna pick one game with the money line, with the point spread that we think is the best bet of the week. So would you like to give me your bet?
I'll go first. I feel like it was the easy pick, but watch it be wrong. I have the Colts -8 over the Jaguars. I mean, this is just a perfect marriage here because I have the Colts being this super team that's going to explode and the Jaguars being maybe the worst team in the NFL. I don't see any way that this game, if it was Colts +15 or -15, I probably would still take it. So Colts the way, take the, lay the points, take the Colts.
I think that the Colts, I mean, that's a lot of points to give, 8 points. But yeah, the Jaguars might not score 8 points all season. I mean, it's going to be bad. I mean, maybe they'll surprise us, but I'm not expecting that. So I think that you took a very easy lob over the plate. Yep. Good job. I tried to follow suit. I'm taking the Bills -6.5 home to the Jets because I think we've talked about how bad a coach Adam Gase is. I don't think that the Jets have any continuity whatsoever. They can't really run the ball very well, and the Bills defense is just stifling. And they have a ground and pound, offensive attack that's I think that's just going to be, the Jets are overmatched, and I think a touchdown at home is more than fair, and I think the Bills are going to roll the Jets pretty handily.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an embarrassing performance for the Jets. I think the Bills are just going to come out and try to kind of stake their claim as the best team in the division, beat up the Jets badly, make a statement, kind of look at the Patriots from across the room or whatever.
Yeah. And
just try and say, hey, we're the class of the division. You can't hang with us. We're at home. Get out of here. The Bills will be up 30 by halftime.
I think that's fair. So I'm going to put money on my bet. You don't have to do the same, but I'll put some money on it. We'll see what happens. Maybe we can bet, I don't know, we can bet dinner or something on this. So if you're right, if it's a push, we split the bill. If we both are right, split it. If I win, you pay. If you win, I pay.
Wait, are you talking about the division picks or the put your money where your mouth is?
No, the put your money where your mouth is.
Okay.
Whoever's right there. I think for the division, I think the division winners in the playoffs, we're gonna have to come up with something a little bit more grand than just dinner.
Okay.
But we'll work on it. We have some more time to work on that. So,
all right.
So that's gonna do it for this week. This is week 21. It's crazy. This is flying by. I'm shocked that I'm not shocked we made it this far, but I'm pleasantly surprised we made it this far. So. For Jose Ortiz, you can find us, follow us along iHeartRadio podcasting app, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at the BW Pod, the Benchwamerz podcast at yahoo.com for all your love and hate mail. Send it along. We're going to keep pounding out the show, and we're excited because it's football season. So we're going to have lots to talk about in the coming weeks. So, but like I started to say earlier, for Jose Ortiz, I am Lou Ruggieri, and that'll do it. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.